Greetings once again, spacefaring adventurers. Duuz-Diz-Din, back again with Eden Zero. Previously, more and more of our friends have been reunited in Universe Zero. From Gilst, we've managed to obtain Chris and Klein, Sister, and Homro, as well as Moscow. The unfortunate part is that Homra has still yet to retain her memory, and the even more unfortunate part is that Sister still died in this universe. And even worse, it was because of an accident when Homra accidentally injured Creed during a sparring match. Since he was the son of the Shogun, it was punishable by death, and Valkyrie took Homra's place, dying in the process. The crew now travels to Sunjewel, hoping that something will jog Homra's memory, even if that something might be her mother, Madame Kurenai. But the planet is much different, like everything in Universe Zero. The bugs who were previously mined by the prisoners who became Valkyrie's army, that Valkyrie made her final stand against, now sometimes overrun the city. The Punishers aren't these domineering robotic sentinels, but the members of Valkyrie's army, as well as Madame Kurenai's forces. And who leads them? Well, Madame Kurenai, of course. But she leads them in defense of the people. Is the Kurenai of this timeline, like many others, a lot more of a positive figure? But if that's the case, why did she never come back for Homura? Join me as we find out her story, won't you? Alright. Standing before Shiki and company is the figure of Madame Kurenai fighting to protect Sunjewel. She was a villain in the last world, but what is she in Universe Zero? As Shiki, Wise, Rebecca, and especially Homura stand stunned to see Madame Kurenai telling her forces, the Punishers, to protect the people. The second season of the TV anime begins broadcast in 3 days. Well, goody golly gee. I'm in the middle, literally the middle, of the previous season, so I'll get around to it. I've been so busy with all the things that I piled onto my plate. My eyes were bigger than my stomach, as some would say. But I've whittled down my list considerably, so try to crank out more Eden Zero episodes to finally catch up with the anime. So check out those reactions, won't you? Ooh, this is a fabulous splash page. I love our original crew and their Japanese get-ups. And Homura and Rebecca are looking particularly cute in this. Like, Masharuma really stepped up his game for this one. Oh, even Shiki looks cute. Honestly, everyone looks cute in this. TV anime season 2, April 1st, Saturday. Sakura and Bloom in the Cherry Heavens. She and her friends blossom. Eden Zero chapter 233. Sword Flash. Ooh, I have to guess that means that Homura's gonna get back her abilities with the Ether Gear. But will she obtain her memories, or is there more to it? Joivus! Yeah, the horde of bugs just comes swarming through the gate. Eagle yells out as she shoots, "Gate 13 is breached!" A horde of stones has invaded the city. To protect the people, Madame Kurenai and the others have become their shield. Yak shouts, "What now?" While Van says, "We gotta get in and destroy their nest." And all three of them go running into the fray, shouting, "Let's do this! 1 + 2 = 1,000,000 power!" Rebecca, stunned, says Madame Kurenai is fighting for the people? Wise says, "I guess we had her all wrong too." Happy exposits, "This must be another effect of Universe Zero." And Pino adds, "A world of happiness." I don't know, I'd be happy if Valkyrie was alive. Yeah, I know, I shouldn't be all caught out of guard by all that, but still, that was my best case scenario. Homura looks on at her mother destroying bugs with a wave of her hands as she calls out to her silently, while Shiki calls out to Homura. But the man from before says, "What are you spacing out for? Hurry and get to the shelter!" shoving the two of them. Shiki turns to Homura and says, "You, Happy, and Pino should go to the shelter." Homura looks on saying, "But Shiki, sir." Shiki addresses Rebecca and Wise saying, "We're gonna back them up." Rebecca questions, "Are you really gonna fight bugs?" Shiki freaks for a moment saying, The bugs are all yours, Rebecca." Of course. Man, after the time skip, Shiki's fear of bugs barely ever came up. Wise goes off with the others, waving to Homura saying, "Don't worry, we'll clean them up in no time." Homura is shocked and then slowly looks down in sadness. She says, "If only I could wield my sword, then I too could be of use." Pino tells her, let us entrust this area to Master and the others. Happy adds, I'm in the same boat. I can't change into guns in this world. Yeah, that is a kind of a bummer for Happy. I was always kind of weirded out by the transformation, especially in the anime where you see the transformation. Like, constantly they reuse that animation like classic anime. But that was the biggest distinguisher from this Happy and the fairy tale Happy. Well, aside from the fact that one could use magic and fly. But now this Happy has like no abilities, and it's just like, that's kind of a bummer. I thought at the very least Happy would discover he has ether gear too. But the bug gem monsters continue to swarm across the city. Like, jeez. Nino uses his soul arm to beat down one of the bugs, saying, Anime will save the universe. Bell Holy Punch! Baku says as he slices down another monster, why are you shouting an anime move? Well, Garrett says, forget that, we got tons on our plate this time. And there's Kurenai, right in the fray of things, wearing a very impractical outfit that would literally just one false move and everything just be spilling out. Fingers crossed? As she says, a big one may be nearby. Keep up your guard and press onward. But as some of the monsters get past them, in comes Shiki using his ether gear. And with a mighty clap, he blasts the monsters away. And coming in with some of that Daka Daka action is Wise and Rebecca, with Rebecca giving us a nice upskirt shot, laying down that suppressing fire. One of the bugs goes for Rebecca's face, and she struggles to get it off, and Wise laughs at her. But another of the bugs goes for his jewels, his sun jewel, much to Wise's shock. And they both scream in terror. Classic Mashima humor. We then pick up at the shelter. So let me guess, some of the bugs are gonna invade the shelter, and Homura's gonna make like a similar last stand, just as Valkyrie did. The man then addresses Homura saying, you girl, didn't you call Madame Kurenai your mother earlier? This takes Homura off guard as he says, I never thought I'd see it, but you're Madame Kurenai's daughter, aren't you? Happy questions, you know about Homura? The man says, I heard all about it from Madame Kurenai, about the daughter she left behind in her country, and how much she missed her after all these years. Homura keeps silent, and the man goes on explaining, your mother is a splendid woman. She's been saving this planet from the stones for years. There are complicated reasons why she cannot return. I can't speak of them, but then Homura suddenly stands and, I swear to God, I know it's supposed to be a dramatic moment, but my attention is immediately brought to the just space between her, essentially her panties and her friggin' long ass stockings, because her legs look just thickly plump. And I'm just like, like, damn it, Mashima. Why must you inject the horny into such a nice moment? Pino questions, Miss Homura? And Homura, shaking, says, I will go to assist as well. I once followed the path of the sword myself. But Happy shouts, don't. You can't fight as you are now. Homura marches forward saying, even so, I was friends with Sir Shiki and the others in the previous world you speak of, was I not? Ooh. Eagle is suddenly overrun by some of the monsters. Yak calls out for him, but he and Van are also overwhelmed as well. Garrot, bloody and bruised, says, there's too many, goddammit. Nino says, I have no strength in my arms. And Baku is just on the ground, panting from the exertion. Even Rebecca and Wise look like they've been overrun repeatedly. As Rebecca, looking disheveled, says, aren't they more dangerous than we thought? Wise, as he changes his bag, says, it would have been great if Jin and the rest came along. Honestly, it really would have. This would be a great time for them to swoop in and help out. And even Shiki is on the ground completely overwhelmed. As Rebecca calls out to him, he says, sorry, there's just so many bugs. Madame Kurenai calls out, everyone, if we don't make this stand, the town will... But suddenly a monster wraps its tendril-like tongue around her neck, restraining her, lifting her into the air. I've seen enough hentai to know where this goes. Eagle calls out for Madame Kurenai. Yak questions, what is that big thing? While Van says, let's go help her. But even more bugs go surging in, continuing to overwhelm them. And out comes Kurenai, running to her mother's defense. Pino looks on at the monster saying, that is and Happy calls out for Madame Kurenai, and Homura calls out for her mother, as more and more of the gem monsters continue to come swarming in, and swarming right towards Homura. Homura is trapped like a deer in the headlight. Ooh, there we go. Suddenly a barrage of missiles come racing from off-panel, destroying all the monsters in front of Homura. Wait. An unknown figure comes leaping from above, slicing into the monsters with a flurry of sword strikes, as Homura looks on in shock. I was wondering if maybe this was a misdirect, but I'm gonna go to the next page. I'm gonna be excited if it is what I think it is. It's Valkyrie! I don't know how, but god damn, yes! The world of possibilities, baby! I don't know how it happened. I don't know why it happened. This pleases me like no other. In another world, Valkyrie lives on, and she fights just as strong as ever. There it is. Homura calls out to Valkyrie in shock. Pino is stunned, and Happy's eyes are damn near bugging out of his face. Valkyrie turns to Homura and questions, "What are you doing, Homura?" And suddenly, Homura's memories come surging forward. And in a moment, Valkyrie tells her, "Your mother." Homura's gaze shifts, tears flowing from her eyes, but without missing a beat. She says, "Yes, teacher." She takes her stance, summons her ether sword, and says, "Warrior Maiden, single sword attack, dragon flash," instantly felling the beast with ease. Like the Homura we've always known, baby. Kurenai calls out to her mother. Happy and Pino look on, excited. Valkyrie looks on at Homura with pride. And as Homura sticks the landing, she gets up, with tears streaming from her eyes, but an elated smile, like the biggest smile I've ever seen out of Homura. She says, "It's just as Shiki said. In this world, everyone is so kind." See, it's funny too, because Mashima has managed to get around some really weird things, because with having all these characters actually die in previous worlds, we had to live with those deaths for a good long while. In those worlds, those deaths still happen. But to go to a world where everything is so much better, they still experience those hardships. Those memories are still there. I feel like some people would... see, my critic brain says some people would look down on that and be like, that's so sappy, that's so, saccharine, that's usual Mashima, can't kill anyone off, but I don't know, it just, for me personally, we have lived without having Valkyrie in this story for hundreds of chapters. Like, we never really got to know Valkyrie in this story because she was dead. And I know this would come off like mass resurrection. Everyone is made better, but I'm kind of okay with that because the characters still suffered. They still went through traumatic things. Bad things still happen. I mean, I have to assume that for some reason Valkyrie's head being removed wasn't the end of her, because I thought about that previously when we heard she was beheaded. I'm like, wait, Mashima really just have her die such a mundane death after her previous death was like, dude. And I'm like, if that's gonna be her death, maybe she's not actually dead. There has to be some workaround, because I don't know, that is such a weak death. Or maybe Creed did something. But where was she this entire time? Or was it possible that she left to go find Homura's mother? And once she saw the situation going on in Sun Jewel, it's just like, okay, maybe we should stick around and just fight the good fight. I don't know, but Homura still grew up without either of them, essentially, still in these worlds. I mean, it's obvious that Homura got to have a bit more time with Valkyrie in this universe, but I feel bad for Homura because it's just like living for years with the thought that, in one world, Valkyrie died because of my mother. In this world, she died because of me. It's just like, just can't catch a break. But I figured that it had to be something like this. That's why I'm not, like, really taken aback. Because I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, Valkyrie might show up. And that might need to be the trigger for her memories. Because if she doesn't remember from seeing Shiki, if she doesn't remember by seeing the crew of Edens, if she doesn't even remember by seeing her mother back Madame Kurenai is just like, then I don't know, man. Valkyrie probably gonna show up all of a sudden. That'll be the trigger, and sure enough. But I want the explanation. That's the thing I'm waiting for. What is the explanation? Why did neither of them come looking for Homura? And I also wonder, I know that Madame Kurenai remarried on Sun Jewel, and that's how she came to power. Was that man who was evacuating, was that the man she remarried? I don't know. I wonder. Well, that's enough out of me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Madame Kurenai the hero? Would you have preferred her stay a villain at least to some capacity? Like at least Draken Joe and Emperor Nero? You know, everybody's a little bit nicer, including Saber, but some of them are still, to a certain degree, villains. I mean, all things considered, Draken Joe was still a lone shark mob boss. How do you feel about Valkyrie being alive? How do you think she survived? Is it simply, lol, android takes off head? Because we have seen some of the shining stars get some damage that was like, that's a stark reminder that you are not human. So maybe? Well, maybe she transferred her consciousness to another body. I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe there's, I don't know, more to it than that. It's really hard to say. I am really at a loss for how Valkyrie could have survived being beheaded. And how do you feel about how Homura got her memories back? So far, I like the way Rebecca and Shiki got their memories back, as well as Happy. Wise and Pino, how they got their memories back made sense. I'm still kind of bitter about the way that Jin, Klein, and Hermit got their memories back, because it was off screen. I would have loved Jin and Klein to have been fighting Sister. The way Sister got her memories back is very Sister. Like, that one I'm like, no, there'd be no other way for Sister to get her memories back, honestly. But I would have loved a tearful moment where they were fighting Sister and have had that moment where their memories both kind of jog. Because I always feel like Jin and Klein don't get as much attention as they should sometimes. And Hermit, I guess it makes sense. We already had the big moment of everyone being like, oh my god, Witch is alive. But, as I've said it previously, well, no, that was a different reaction series to the anime. Hermit is like my favorite of the shining stars. I love Hermit. Just her personality, her confidence, and even her backstory is like the most tragic. And the whole effort to have her rise above that really endeared me to her. Like, it's just the efforts we went to getting Hermit to join us on the Eden Zero, that was the thing that really endeared me to her. Which isn't to say I don't love all of the shining stars. I love all of them. But I hate that we missed out on a good little moment for Hermit. And I'll be honest, out of the 4 that we've had on the Crew of Edens that we've been traveling so far, my love goes Hermit first, then Wit, then Homura, then Sister. Which isn't to say I hate Sister at all. Not at all. It's like asking me what my favorite Ninja Turtle is. I love them all, but there's some I prefer a little bit more over the others. With Sister, it just comes from the fact that I'm just like, Sister's fine. It never feels like she struggles with anything. I know she does, but Sister always has a situation handled. I don't have to worry about Sister. Like, oh, job's done, Sister's here. But Homura's towards the bottom too because, I don't know, I'm just also a character I always expect her to win. I always expect her to come out on top. Like, the moment on Sun Jewel was like the most emotional impact for me for Homura. And after that, that's kind of been like the end of some of my emotion with Homura. But it is in seeing her throughout this that I'm just like, I really do love Homura. Not as much as some of the others, but to see a Homura that is powerless, that is shaken, that is just unable to do anything, it's just, I don't like it. Take it away, take it away. I like Homura as who she is. The strong badass who says a little too much. And I do appreciate this being a good opportunity to remind me of why I like the character. And this also leaves me fascinated by what happens now. You know, does Valkyrie continue on? Does she stay on Sun Jewel to help defend against the bugs? I wonder. I mean, that would be a kind of a bummer, but it's nice that she's alive, but to not have her travel with the crew, I could see that happening. I could see that happening. Her just being like, the Eden Zero already has their Sword of Eden. She sends them on their way, and it's just like, no, I wanted to see them fight back to back. Alright, I've gone on long enough. My mind has just been racing from this chapter, so I had to get that all out. If you stuck around this far, thank you so much. Comments down below. I really want to hear from you. Remember to subscribe for more Eden Zero. Check out my anime reaction reviews if you just want more Eden Zero content in general. It serves as a nice little recap to the series too. And I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.